Hello everyone, welcome back to BISP self-learning video series. My name is Sumit and this is my next tutorial for beginners in Python, and the topic is classes and objects. In this tutorial, I will be going to tell you how to create classes and objects in a Python program. So let's see how to work on it. Before moving on to that, practical programming, let's understand what is about classes and objects. Basically, as you know that Python has been an object-oriented language since it has existed, and because of this, creating and using classes and objects are pretty easy in Python. And what are the classes? The class, basically it is used to create classes, and it is a within a classes we can have same kind of functions, we can have some kind of variables within a class we can put in a class, and to access those functions and variable we can create those functions and variables by using an objects. So let's see how to create a class and how to access the functions and variables of that class by using an object. So let's switch to program. So for this I'll switch to the existing program, and I'm open a file and I'm going to create a new file basically. And in this file, let me save this, close it. And in this file, let's write a program. So I'm going to create a class first of all. So to create a class, we need a class statement. So we can write here class. So this class statement is used to create a new class definition. So I write here class and BS, or let's say employee class and colon. Then I need to create variables. So I can create a variables. So we can have a variables here, or we can create variables but directly in constructor as well, or in functions as well. So I'm going to define functions into it. So first of all, I need a constructor, and you know the constructor, basically constructor is a special function which will be executed whenever an object of a class has created. So we'll be going, and we can use the constructor to define the variables. We can use the constructor to assign the values to our variables. So to define a constructor, so we can use def, and this, after this def I write underscore underscore init underscore underscore. So this init function will work as a constructor. Then you do not need to write the function, the class name as a constructor name. Like in other programming languages, we used to write the constructor name as will be same name as class name, but in Python this init function will work as a constructor. And in this I write self, then I create variables. So I write emp code comma emp name comma emp cell. It's a function, so I close this function here. Then I write self dot emp code is equal to emp code, self dot emp name is equal to emp. So whatever values we'll get into this will be, because it's a constructor and this constructor has got parameters, so we'll be going to pass the parameters to this constructor, and the values of those parameters will be going to save into this emp code. So basically this self is used for this class, and this emp code and this emp name and this emp cell will be available only for this function. So it's a local variable, and this is a class variable, you can say that, right? And I write self dot emp cell is equal to emp cell. So that's the definition for constructor. Now I would like to display the values. So again I create a new function, def display emp details, and I write here print statement, print employee name is equal to emp self dot emp name. Copy this, paste employee code. You can change, you can put code earlier as well before. So emp code and emp self employee salary. Now we need to call this. So this is a class, and now to call this constructor or to initialize the values in this constructor variables, and to call this function we need to create an object or the instance of this function, also sorry instance of this class, and then we invoke it. So let's see how to invoke. So you can see here, I have created one object here, obj1, and this obj1 basically it's an object of this class. So I write here employee class. This takes three parameters, employee code. So this is employee code. This value will store into employee code. This will store as an employee name. This will store as a employee salary. And then I invoke this function, display employee detail. And when I invoke this function, when I execute this 101, this 101 will store into employee code. This will SAM here and this will here. And when I invoke this display employee detail, this will call this specific function. It will print employee name as a 101, employee name as SAM, employee code as 101, and employee salary as 1000. So let's test this program. So to test this, I run it. I press F5 key and you can see I got the message, employee name is Sam, employee code is 101, employee salary is 1000. So either you can pass the values like this, or first you can get the values from the user by using the input statement. So how to read the values from the user by using input statement, for that you can check my previous videos. So this is a very basic example. Here we have got one class. If we want to do inheritance, if I want to make reuse of this function in another class, so instead of copying again what I'm copying the same code again or creating the same class again, I'm going to inherit this. So let's see how to do the inheritance in Python. So to do the inheritance, we have got one class. Now I'm going to create another class. So to create a child class, I write class, and let's say employee address. That's the child class name, and in parenthesis I'm going to give the parent class name. So this is basically the child class and this is the parent class. So this is how we can inherit a class in Python. Then I create one constructor here as well for this class, init and self, comma, let's say address, comma, city, comma, phone. Now I need to pass, because the object I will be going to create for this class, employee address class, but I would like to call this constructor as well, and this constructor takes three parameters from here. So I need to pass the parameters from here as well. So I write emp code, comma, emp name, comma, emp self. And then I write self dot address is equal to address, self dot city is equal to city, self dot phone is equal to phone, and the values which these employee code value I would like to pass to this emp code, this employee name value I would like to pass to this to these three parameters in this constructor or parent class constructor. So to invoke parent class constructor, we'll be going to use super keyword. So I use super and employee address, comma, self dot underscore underscore invoke that function init function, and we pass the values here, emp code, comma, emp name, comma, emp self. So the values which are right here, which we will be going to pass here, employee code, employee name, employee cell. So this employee code, this employee name, this employee cell, these value will store into employee code respectively, employee name and employee cell respectively. And then I want to create another function, def function. This is to display the output. So I write def and display employee address self, and I write here print or let's say simple address equal to, comma, self dot address, copy and paste it, self dot address, this is address, then I want self dot city and I want self dot phone, and here this should be city and this should be If you would like to print these three values here itself, you can do that, because they are in a relationship now. This employee address is inheriting this employee class. So this employee address class can inherit the function. This employee class can inherit the variables of the parent class into itself. So if we would like to print these three statements here itself in this function, we can do that easily. So this is how we can define class. Now I'm going to create an instance of this employee address. So I create an instance, child obj is equal to employee address, and you can see here it takes 6 parameters, 1 2 3 4 5 6. We never count self actually. So I pass here 6 parameter address, let's say 127 123 oblique 630 657, and let's say Xavier Road. Okay, then our city, so city I write NY. Then I want phone, so phone I enter phone. Then we need employee code, so 101. Then we need name, so I enter name Sam, and salary is 9,000. And then I need to invoke these functions. So first I'm going to invoke this function. Although it's a child, it's an object of this employee address class, but because they're in a relationship, so this object, this child object, can easily access this function, can invoke this function. So I'm going to invoke that function here. So I write here child obj dot display emp details, and same. And here I write child obj dot and the name of this function. So I copy paste this function. So that's the code, that's the program. Now let's test it whether it's working or not. So I'm going to refresh it, I'm going to save it and run it. So you can see employee name is Sam, as I have passed here Sam, and employee code is 101, salary is this, address is this, city is this, and phone number is this. So this is how we can invoke a class, how we can use a class in Python, how we can invoke the functions and variables of a class by using variables, by using object, and how to do inheritance in Python. That's all in this tutorial. If you have any queries, if you have any issues, you can visit our website www.bisptrainings.com. You can subscribe our YouTube channel for more videos on Python. You can visit our website for a customized training on Python. And I will be coming up with some new videos with some new concepts in Python. Till then, have a nice day ahead. Goodbye.